The next admin feature I'd like to demonstrate for you today is the events view, where you can review all the important information about each free food giveaway hosted on campus, including downloading before and after photos and reviewing the host feedback submitted through the automated feedback survey. So for this, we'll again flip back to the back end of Free Food Alert, and you'll see now we're in the Events app, and this is the default view for the events where you can see events that might be saved and not published yet in this first column. Then you'll see published events for the live free food giveaways that are currently ongoing. And then in this done column, you can see all the historical information and data about all your past free food giveaways for your university. So if we switch this to the list view, this is kind of a better way to see this. So we can see for this particular university, the number of alerts here in the top right. And we can also click into any one of these items and we can see the full details about the giveaway, such as the start and end time. We can see if it ended early. And if it ended early, when it ended, we'll see the time zone as well as the primary, secondary locations and the location description. And again, all the other details that were included in the public facing version of the free food giveaway on the website are also available through the backend. Here, notably, if we needed to unpublish the event immediately for any reason, we could come here through the action menu and archive, for example, the event, and that would immediately remove it and unpublish it from the website in case for any reason someone has posted something that we don't approve of. Furthermore, if you scroll down here at the bottom of the page, you can see we have a few different checkboxes to track were there before photos uploaded and or after photos as part of the host feedback survey. And so here, if we flip to the food images tab, you can see, for example, the before photos and eventually the after photos that might be uploaded by the host as part of the host feedback survey. The other thing I want to highlight is some of our default filters and groups that can be very helpful. So we can filter, for example, to specifically look at events that have before photos, and then we could open these and take a look at all of the images down here at the bottom of the page in the food images tab. So we can flip through them like this and quickly check out what the photos look like before and after for certain events. We can also create a similar filter and check a similar filter, but for after photos, it looks like in this case, we don't have any after photos for these events in this test system, so that's fine. And then finally, we can also use a default filter for host feedback and specifically look at events that have host feedback. And then we click through this button and we can open the feedback from the host. So in this case, they confirmed that 100% of the food waste was remediated during the giveaway. 10 people showed up for the giveaway. There were no issues with it. And finally, they provided some fantastic feedback saying that they love that they can get leftover food to students so efficiently. Another thing we can do is group the different events by key information. For example, if we wanted to group by start date, looking at year and then month, we could do that here. So we can see we had about 51 or exactly 51 free food giveaways in 2023, and we've already had 136 in 2024. And if we open this list for 2024, we can also see the values across the different months grouped. So here it's grouped by not only year, but then also month. And we can flip this to, for example, the graph view in the top right option. And now we can see kind of a distribution over the different months. And we can see that indeed the amount of free food giveaways that are hosted and the amount of alerts that are sent out tends to be really dependent on the month of the year. And that matches, as we know, the cyclical or seasonal kind of highs and lows of the number of events we have on campuses. Another thing I wanted to show you was if we switch back here, we also have the calendar view. So the calendar view allows us to see prior events in the past few months. So we can flip through here and see all of the events that were hosted in the last few months, and then we can open any one of them and try to see more information about that event and try to glean more information qualitatively or quantitatively about how that event went. The last thing I'll show you is if I flip back to the list view and I again filter to specifically the events with host feedback, We can select all of these events, so these 16 events where the host provided feedback via the survey, and we can actually export all the data and then open this actually in a Excel compatible file that looks like this, that has the event name, the start and end time, the giveaway time frame, which organization organized it. So in this case, it would always be your university, since you only will have access to the data from your university through the backend of FreeFood Alert. You can also see which host actually sent out the alert. You can see if it ended early for any reason. And then you can again see the location, as well as all the answers to the food waste remediation questions that are included in the host feedback survey. And then finally, the last feature, which is really nice, is you can click on these links and actually open the before and after photos for the different events. Great. So that's it for this admin feature that involves seeing a summary of the event information for the free food giveaways, such that you know this is really just a small snapshot of what's available in the backend of Free Food Alert. And there's a lot more structured data and graphs via the filters and the groups that you can use to pull out the data insights that are important to your university.